Well, some we hear all the time, there just isn't enough good news in the world.
Well, that is about to change here in Omaha thanks to an effort called Everybody Wins. Community leaders and churches are making a positive impact, and they want you to get involved starting this Sunday.
Yeah, right away. To explain how, from Christ Community Church, lead pastor Mark Ashton and Ron Doesler is the founder of Abide. Good morning.
Hi,
Good to see
it's
both
nice
of
to
you.
have you
Morning.
here.
I
Welcome
hope
back,
you had a good
Ron.
Easter. But I love this campaign. Describe the campaign and how to get started.
Well, it got started a number of months ago when pastors got together and said, hey, we're already doing a lot of things that are good for the city. What can we do together that would be better than what we could do separately?
Yeah.
And so we decided, hey, we'll bring about good news for our city. We'll unleash unprecedented compassion, plant some churches, and help to bring about a lot of good.
I love that phrase, unprecedented compassion. Like, that feels like this is big, right? We start to understand this is going to be huge. Who's involved in it? You've got Abide, obviously, but who else is part of this?
Well, there's actually 35 or 40 churches that have all signed on board, and they've said we're going to work together in order to be able to make these things happen. And what we found is the more we do it, the more churches sign on board, so the number is growing every day, and it represents tens of thousands of people in the Omaha metro.
So what exactly do you do? What is a compassion project? You know what I mean? What is that?
Jim Collins, I love his book, Good to Great.
Yeah.
He says that we can do things that are good or we can do things that are great. I think the exciting thing about these churches coming together is we're saying, we've been doing some good things. And if you see churches over the years, we've done good things. But could we really do unprecedented compassion? Could we really go to the level of greatness where we could see significant shifts and changes in our city? So these churches gathering together to see a great city would mean that we've got to do some real tangible things. And so the compassion projects are churches that are saying, we're not only going to do what we've been doing in our churches, but as we elevate one another, we're going to do some greater things. Could you imagine in Omaha that if drug addiction didn't rule so many lives, everybody would win?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about families, you know, for children.
Absolutely.
It would be tremendous. But what do you, I mean, you're talking about a huge, if you can crack the code in Omaha, you're talking about changing the world, ultimately, changing this country. So, you're not taking on these small little projects, you know? We've talked about plenty of good things that you're doing, where you say at Abide that you don't want any city to have an inner city, and you've been chipping away at that for a while. So how do you make something like drug addiction, how do you affect that, Mark?
Well, part of what we do is we want to transform neighborhoods. And one of the things that Abide and Christ Community Church are working together on is transformation of key neighborhoods in North Omaha. So it could involve tutoring kids, it can involve hunger relief, neighborhood block parties for them to be able to get to know each other better, helping out in the school systems. And my favorite project is the Lighthouse Project, and Ron can tell you more about that.
What is that, Ron?
Yeah, that's where people actually kind of take ownership of their neighborhood. So like in North Omaha particularly, as we get into neighborhoods and a family says, I'm going to be an advocate for this community. I'm going to really love my neighbor. I'm going to build a sense of community in that neighborhood, and I'm going to offer opportunities for children and families so that their lives can elevate and get better. That's what's happening in the whole Lighthouse Project. And could you imagine if that happened all over our city?
Yeah, and quite frankly, it can, because there are neighborhoods all over the city where neighbors don't know neighbors, and neighbors aren't working together with
But
other
where
neighbors.
people do care, it's just doing it in unison, right? It's instead of feeling like, well, it's not going to amount to anything if I do something.
Right.
Where you feel like you've got company all of a sudden.
Well, and the churches can partner in together by taking a neighborhood or by taking a house, which is one of the worst houses on a block, and we'll renovate that house, transform it so that it's the best house on the block, and then a family will move into that house to become a transformational family for that neighborhood. And it changes the whole neighborhood when the worst drug house becomes the most beautiful missionary house in the neighborhood.
I think about a campaign, just the word in general, like it starts and it ends. But what you're talking about, I can't imagine it ending like you guys just like, okay, everybody's inspired, let's just walk away.
That's right.
So where do you see this going, and for what length of time would you like to see Everybody Wins continue?
Well, we've got a campaign that's
life.
That's right. That's right. There's a 4-week intensive campaign that's happening in the months of April, and all of the churches will be giving the same messages, talking about the same things for 4 weeks. But you're exactly right that this is a dream that would continue on for years and years to come, and our hope is that the impact would be for generations to come.
Yeah, but then the people are out there watching. They're like, how do I get involved with these compassion projects? So what do you tell them? I know we've got the URL at the bottom of the screen. Is that one spot they can go?
Yeah, they definitely can go to the URL. They can get connected that way. But I think one of the neat things about this collaboration of churches is we can take the lead on providing an avenue for people to land and get involved. One of the neat things in our city is we have a lot of people that really do want to get involved. They really want to give back. They really want to make a difference. And for churches to take the lead and provide landing places for people to really get involved, this is pretty powerful.
And if you're not sure if your church is already involved, you can find locations currently part of it, but then also I imagine that list is evolving. As you said, it's growing. More people want to be part of it. It is everybodywins.net. You'll also find them on Facebook and on Twitter if you'd like to go the social media route. Gentlemen, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks so much.
I love the
Thank you.
concept, and good luck with the campaign.
I
Appreciate it.
can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah.
It's
Exciting
really
stuff.
exciting.
All right, Blue Jeans and